Hey, hey everybody. This is Greg Harris. Let me flip the camera around real quick. Um, John Ratz, come here. Say hi. Say the internet, John Ratz. Look, we're on.
Hi, Internet.
Uh,
You're beautiful.
It's true. So this is Greg Harris. I will be your live stream host for Bout 10 coming right up. This bout features performances from Lincoln High, looking to follow up their first place finish from our opening night. And then we have a performance from Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. We have a performance from Marian High School and Bellevue East. They will be going head-to-head in 4 individual rounds with a round 5 is a 4-person group piece round. There are options for additional group pieces, which you might see come up. I have a feeling you will. But yeah, it's 5 judges. They're going to give scores. We're going to drop the low score, the high score. They give scores from 0.0 to 10.0. We're going to drop the low. We're going to drop the high. We're going to keep the 3 in the middle, and those scores will accumulate for each team, leading to a winner who has the most scores. That's how we do the scoring. I'm going to be tracking it on the live stream and everything like that, talking about strategy, things like that. We don't really care about the scores, honestly. We're just here for the poetry, but it's a fun excuse, and it helps us, be attentive and helps the students give something to focus on. So you're going to see a lot of great high school slam poetry coming up here. I'm going to turn the camera around. I'm going to kill the volume on this. We've been dinged for copyright stuff for the music that our DJ plays. So it's going to be quiet until the bout starts, but we're going to find some judges, we're going to find some audience members, going to get everybody together, and we'll probably get started in about 5 to 10, maybe 15 minutes at the most. So yeah, sit tight, get ready. This is going to be a really great bout, and we'll talk to you in just a little bit. Bye.
Around for this bout who is not affiliated with any of the 4 teams competing. I would love to have some judges, and to be a judge, you simply have to not be here to root for any of the teams or root against any of the teams. So, anybody? We'll talk.
To the towns of go-go. Oh, with the record selection and the mirror reflection of my dancing with myself. But when there's no one else inside, I think we're proud and alone tonight. Well, I look so lost for my love,
Hey folks, sorry, had to turn the audio all the way down because we got one of those copyright warnings. So we're going to keep the audio silent until the bout starts. We'll be with you then. Hey, folks, we're back. We have hosts on the stage. Lindsay Hand and KDFS are our hosts.
And welcome to Louder Than a Bomb Great Play! You want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. My name is Lindsay Hand.
My name is KDFS. We will be your hosts this afternoon. How many of you have never been to a poetry slam before? How many? I'm seeing lots of liars.
I don't buy it.
In this crowd, which means the people who aren't lying are now like, I'm a liar? Which is, what's this show? Do you want to do this part?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Hello. Slam poetry was invented in the 1980s by a Chicago poet and construction worker named Mark Smith.
So what?
Then in 2001, Louder Than a Bomb was created by Kevin Koval and Anna West. And now we have Louder Than a Bomb's Great Plains, which is now in its third year with 32 teams. Yeehaw! Across Nebraska and Iowa.
Woo! Nicely done. Good work. Good work. Okay, so here's what's going to happen today, here, right now. Are you so excited? I'm so excited.
I'm really excited.
4 teams. Lincoln High School. Count the Bluffs to TJ, which is Thomas Jefferson, right? Marian. And Bellevue East have assembled between 4 and 10 young poets. The teams will each send up 5 poems in a predetermined order. Each poem will be original work, will last no longer than 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We start docking points after that. None of you have to worry about that, but we do have to say it. It will not feature any props, costumes, or accompaniment from anyone other than the competing poets. The 5th round will feature a 4-person group piece from each team that is able to field one. Unlike you, you got this wooing thing down. Do you want to do the next one?
Oh, yes.
All right.
All right, individuals. Now, in the interest of creating the safest and most inclusive space possible, we're asking poems don't contain profanity, sexually explicit things, pornographic language, gratuitous violence, racial, ethnic, gender, biased, homophobic, religious, ableist, or otherwise discriminatory slurs, speech, or language. That said, some of our poets may issue trigger warnings if their poems contain potentially traumatic content, though it is not a requirement.
All right. Each poem will be scored by 5 judges. Judges, can you hold up your scorecards? Just so we have kind of like, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams. Do you see this? Oh, please, please, I'm like in the process of like getting you all to know each other. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 judges. Excellent. Good work, judges.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Positive reinforcement. Yeah, clap for them now. You may not clap for them again. All right? So each poem will be scored by these 5 judges on a scale from 0.0 to 10.0. We'll drop the high score and the low score and then add the 3 middle scores together. So the highest one poem can score is 30.0. At the end of the bout, we add a team scores together, and whoever has the highest number wins the bout. Although, don't we all win just by being here? Judges, keep your scores consistent. Do not let the audience sway you. You'll score on the poem based on the merits of the poem, not based on how many people are on stage or how the audience reacts to your scores. Audience, your job is to sway the judges. Are you so ready for this? So if you hear a poem that you love, that fulfills all your life goals, what's that going to sound like? God, I hope it looks like that.
Please look like that.
Right? And if you hear that poem and then the judge is like, oh man, that poem gets a 3.2, what's that going to sound like? Wow.
I'm uncomfortable.
So you're ready for this, judges? Impervious space. You cannot be touched. All right, so do you want to do the last one, and then we can...
Oh, yes. Before we start, we are requesting you turn off all your cellular phones.
Just pull it out. Even if
Just
you
give
like,
it a little.
turn them off, like maybe just check.
Just maybe check.
Just
maybe.
check. Just look. What's it say to you? It should say nothing. Nothing to you. We will say things to you.
I'm saying things right now, and then we'll bring up calibration poets so that our judges can have a chance to practice scoring, and so we have a warm and welcoming stage for all of our poets to perform on. Oh, okay.
Your Okay, so here's something that maybe we should have communicated about before we were in front of the entire room.
Hi.
Bout manager.
Warm and welcoming stage.
We are welcoming.
Ready to welcome Eric Green.
I can't believe you would turn down this opportunity. Do you want to just bring it in? We got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serenity Stokes, maybe?
Serenity, do you want to? Okay, all right. So, are we ready? No, we are not ready. We need to come
Ready.
Take to the stage, Serenity!
All right, so we welcome up our calibration poet. This is Serenity. She comes to us from Lincoln North Star. Her scores won't count for anything, just an opportunity for the judges to get a chance to practice their scores. Here we go.
On the spot or nothing. Okay.
You're doing a great job.
Okay, so I'm gonna be your sacrifice, whatever. Okay, so that's a thing. Okay, I'm Serenity Stokes. I'm a junior at Lincoln North Star High School. And my piece is called Inheritance. So. Sorrow is not relief when you find out your woman-beating drug abuser of a father died. Running away from the police, his choices coursing through his veins, pushing his foot down harder, red light reflected in his dilated pupils. I wonder if he even knew how to just stop. Sorrow is the loud crack, your heart's unsteady beats, the sound echoing in your ears. It has withstood the shock of being born, the pressure of living, the years of scraped knees and hurt feelings. It has had to endure the words of your stepfather, "Don't call me Dad," bouncing off the walls of our hearts, leaving punctures and bruising on the surface. Sorrow is knowing all my father gave to me was his genetics, an X chromosome and a few strands of twisted DNA bent out of shape like his mind. My mother refers to him as the sperm donor, insisting the only good he brought to the world were the women soldiers I call my sisters and myself. His impact on my mother is hard to hide, like the bottles of antidepressants in the medicine cabinet and the lack of closure in her eyes. Sorrow is your mother explaining to you that she is sorry. She is sorry that every time she gets pushed a little too far or an argument gets a little too heated, she snaps back to the days of being slammed into walls. The days of throat grabbing, bone fracturing, spirit breaking abuse. Sorrow is seeing your mother's eyes go cold as she enters the mentality of survival. Mistaking her daughters for their father, seeing the image of him in the way my sister wraps her hair around her fingers and places it in her mouth, the way his smirk spreads across my face. Sorrow is knowing your sister's emotional scars are because she chased her father out into the street at 3 years old, begging him to stay. Begging him not to disappear again. Sorrow is when he got into the car and drove away without looking back. Sorrow is the fact that my sister bottles emotions now. No genie involved. The time of wishing long gone. Just feelings being shoved down and hidden away. Sorrow is that she doesn't like to hug her little sisters. She likes to throw things for attention, and human contact seems to bruise her. She feels it physically. The gut feeling to reject before being rejected. Sorrow runs in my family's veins like water in tree roots, giving us life but filling my lungs with enough fluid that I can't even breathe right, that I quickly push thoughts away instead of feeling deeply. I can only hope in the moments I feel sorrow, I do not completely shatter. I can only hope to be as strong as the women who came before me, the women who wear their warrior scars, the women who've left me this inheritance, the women whose tears come down on me like rain.
That That is our calibration poet from Lincoln North Star High School. Winners of the last bout. Kind of put on the spot there, but performed well given it. See how the scores come back.
Competing in this competition, but she is an opportunity for you to practice scoring poems. Keep in mind, this is calibration, right? So everything you hear after Serenity, if you like it more, you're going to score it higher. If you like it less, you're going to score it lower, all right? Have I given you enough time to think about your numbers? You're never going to get more time than this to think about your numbers. If you don't have numbers on that whiteboard, write down numbers on that whiteboard right now. 3, 2, 1, hold them up! I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, from low to high, I've got an 8.2. We have feelings. We have a 9.0, a 9.2, a 9.3, and a 9.6 for our calibration poet.
All right, so our calibrator gets a 27.5.
Of the schools in the first round, and then it gets mixed up as we go into the second round. So again, you don't have to worry about this. We'll worry about this. First, we'll hear from Lincoln High. Then we'll hear from Council Bluffs TJ. Then we'll hear from Marian. Then we'll hear from Bellevue East. Are you ready to slay? I love everything. How about that? Then welcome to the stage a poem from Lincoln High.
All right, so Lincoln High is up first in this bout with their first poet. So that's a high calibration poet. We'll see how that affects the spread of the scores for these 4 schools today, as the judges use that 27.5 as their benchmark.
This poem is titled Royalty.
Here's Lincoln High.
When I was little, I wanted to be an Egyptologist. Or a princess, depending on the weather in Egypt, because growing up I never liked the sun. And as I got older, I wanted to be a neuropsychopharmacologist. But I no longer dream of studying drugs. I focus on wishing I won't become addicted to the pillars of psychotropic medication to quell the fear and paranoia within me, the constant feelings of hopelessness. I will never escape this state of anxious depression conquering my mind. I no longer dream of becoming an Egyptologist. Surrounded by pyramids and generational inflictions of supernatural destinies. Travel costs too much money. I always have to leave behind my belongings. I end up losing memories, or maybe the medication is screwing with me. All of the innocent dreams I once had for myself are breaking, falling to more powerful forces dictated by authoritarian reality and jeweled mirages causing lacerations. Growing up wasn't always so terrifying. We have to be quiet. We cannot show weakness. Remember to never reveal any feelings of sadness. Nights cannot protect me, and the night approaching is too threatening. My family is contradiction. Royalty in reverse. Getting swept off their feet only to be discarded, kissed with a fist, inducing extended slumber, spinning on a magic carpet, head swimming in a sea of broken. I no longer dream of becoming a princess. To be next in line is to be caught in this cycle in which I end up feeling lonely and incapable of bettering anything. The generations before me are consumed by cigarette smoke and endless regret. I could spend my life studying antidepressants that can't cure the inevitable. Sarcophagus, cancer-causing air surrounds yellowed hands, carrying a crown of dried roses to the coronation, synonymous with condemnation. I know I cannot exchange the blood that flows through my veins for a type not bound to royalty. Disassociation from a desire to be bound to another, united for the rest of eternity, contemplating the thought that maybe this volatile environment will bring me some sort of peace, and sanity isn't as simple as obliterating bone. There is a light at the end of this tunnel. Or maybe it's the throat of a dragon. I hear the sound of galloping horses, or maybe it's someone beating on the door. My arms are draped in rich velvet purple. Or maybe it's the bruises. When I grow up, I want to be a teacher, but I have never been able to convey the wonder of fairy tales. I'm too busy teaching myself how not to be a victim.
All right, so that is Lincoln High with an opening poem. And we'll see how the judges react to that, given our high calibration score of 27.5. See how things go.
For poetry. All right, Judge-a-roonies, let's see them. Katie is being my eyeballs because I can't afford new glasses until the 1st of April. Thank you, Kate. The scores from low to high. We have an 8.5, 9.2, 9.3, 9.4, and a 9.5.
All right, so that is a 27.7.
All right, up next, let's hear it for CB
27.9
Thomas Jefferson.
for Lincoln High to open things off. Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson is up now with their first poet. And they're one of our first-year schools this year. I like them from what I heard in the first bout. Here we go.
Hi, my name's Claire Yale, and I'm a junior at Thomas Jefferson. The alarm rings at 6:30 a.m., which rolls to 6:50, which crawls to 7. Be funny! I hear the back door creak. Mom's home, I feel relief. She doesn't see me, but yells cheerfully, "Good morning, ladies!" My sisters and I reply with muted voices, "Morning." Her greeting echoes in my head. Is that her talking or the meds? I ask because she's been staring at a screen all night. But when she comes home, eHarmony is glaring back at her. It makes me wonder. Maybe for her, it's not be funny. Maybe for her, it's find someone. Settle down. Don't be alone. Why am I scared that that door won't creak, that she won't come home one of these days? Be funny so she won't leave. My eyes are glazed with last night's episodes, and I'm crumpled up like a disappointing song. My author throws me off the couch into the garbage. I brush my yellowed teeth, stained with diet soda. Be funny! She's sprawled out on her new bed she bought herself. No help from men, but she keeps looking. Maybe I'm scared that I can't compete with the men who come through that back door. It'd be funny if I said I didn't want her affection, but I tried too hard for all that attention. Once, I did a Schwarzenegger impression for 2 hours straight. By the 15th, "Get to the chopper," she was in another room. Sometimes I'll skip sleep because I'm funnier while exhausted, but her head is sunken deep in those pillows she bought, like the ones I try to avoid as I attempt to be her next George Carlin. She's the one who made me realize for the first time, you don't have to be happy to laugh. Then be funny so she won't cry. When she wakes, she sips on coffee for an hour or more. This time the screen is Match.com, and the conversation becomes one-sided between me, myself, and this jerk who keeps saying, "Be funny!" I poke and prod her with the words that I held in from school that day. When I get no response, it's clear to me. This competition is just too much. I think I might forfeit. Because I don't think I'll ever be funny enough.
All right, that is a poet from Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson, a first-year team. Love that piece. They used it in their previous bout. It's just really strong.
That is TJ!
See how it comes back and scores.
Lindsay is smart. Lindsay writes really well, but I'm really appreciating like the dancing. You're just letting go. And, yeah, thank you. All right, so judges, score that poem. 3, 2, 1. Hold them up. From low to high, I have an 8.3.
What are you doing?
A 9.0. A 9.3. A 9.5. And a 9.6 for TJ. Excellent. Keep applauding and welcome to the stage, Marian.
So that puts Thomas Jefferson just 1/10 of a point behind the openers, Lincoln High. Nice narrow bout. I think we're going to see that pattern continue throughout the night. Now up is a poet from Marian High School in Omaha, Nebraska.
Tell me what. This should be good. I'm Samantha Gardner, and this is Quiet Hands. The confusing world in which I live is ear-piercingly quiet and paper-thin. My eyes are open and I see, yet my mind remains blind, leaving me unable to understand when I need more than sight. As I place my hands upon new things that seem false and dreamlike, they gain solidity and depth. In my constantly shifting, fluid-like reality, my hands map out my world, showing me more than my eyes ever could. My voice is clear and I speak, yet reserve and gracelessness cage my song, leaving me speechless when I need more than words. In my perpetually muted, mime-like world, my hands magnify my cries, speaking louder than my voice ever could. When I was young, I dragged my hands across aisle shelves. These things were new, and I needed to feel what my eyes couldn't see. When I was young, I'd brush my hands against brick walls. This place was new, and I needed to guide myself even if I wasn't blind. When I was young, my hands would flail. I was here, and I needed to be seen. When I was young, my hands would flap. I was excited, and I needed it to be known. When I was young, my hands would tap. I was at my wit's end, and I needed to be pulled back from the edge. When I was young, my hands would shake. I was over the edge and falling. The meltdown had begun, and it was time for damage control. People gave me strange looks. In kindergarten, they took my hands in theirs to stop the movement, leaving me both bound and gagged. Teachers screeched, "Quiet hands!" The hands of my classmates would fly to their laps. If I did not comply, I'd be forced to sit on mine, both stifling my voice and blinding my mind. When I got up, my hands were numb and my fingers felt so stiff, they stuck together like crazy glue. There was no damage control. My voice was stolen, and I made mute. As I grew older, quiet hands started to mean more than just keeping my hands quiet. It meant keeping them to myself. Don't touch what you won't buy. I was reprimanded for adding new things to my reality. It's a little weird that you're always touching the wall. Guiding myself became forbidden. What I thought of as my greatest allies were now treated as my worst enemies. My eyes were stolen, and I made mute, and I made blind. I am now, and in the future I will be then. As I travel along aisles, my hands once again touch the thing. When no one is looking, my hands once again touch what's on aisle shelves. Once again, I map my reality. Quiet hands never stuck. Who wants them? Who needs them? People, as I flap, tap, shake, and flail, now endure the jingle-jangling of my steel turtle ring. I'll be as loud as I want to be.
And that is a poet from Marian High School. Powerful personal piece again. There's a lot of those. Let's see how the scores come back.
Rate your emotions Let's see it. You're so good at writing. Thank you. Scores from low to high are 8.0, 8.2, 8.5, 8.8, and an 8.8. Oh, let's hear it for Bellevue East.
It's a 25.5 for Marian High School's first round piece. 25-5, and Bellevue East is up now.
What's up? I'm Luke Bendigosa from Bellevue East. It's 11:11. This is usually when I'm huddled into the covers, marathoning through whatever new show has me hooked, or rewatching episodes of How I Met Your Mother, the ones I surprisingly can't recite by heart and memory. It's 11:11 and it's a cliche. It's 11:11 and you ask me what I wish for. Usually, I'm trying to convince you to tell me what you've requested upon the specific matching 4 digits of time, but of course, my repetitive badgering's only a joke, but I'm not going to lie and act as if I'm not curious. You've told me once before we locked lips for the first time, once before the walk in the cold that can kill somebody with its blistery grip, once before you realized that our timing wasn't right. The one that you did let me know of, you said you wished to be happy, and for me not to mess that up. Now it's been a while, and I'm beginning to keep my wishes from you, but the one that you did let me know of, I do wish for that to follow through, and I hope to be a part of that process, and I hope you know that you've been a part of mine. It's 11:11, and one by one, I still continue to waste these wishes on you, but learning to accept the fact has taken much less time than I thought. But together, our time was much shorter than anticipated. All good things must come to an end, and me, as heavily into the art of cliches as I am, I very much understand the fact, but my cliches, you appreciated more than anybody else I've known from past to present, and I couldn't be more grateful to have fallen head over heels into something that didn't feel superficial. The poems that I wrote for you. Even under the current circumstances, I don't believe that it was time wasted, cubed up and thrown away, never to be seen again. I believe the sessions of putting pen to paper to produce these poems, these words, aligned to flow smoother than NASA's Illmatic, to flow smoother and cooler than my consciousness whenever you walked into my line of sight. Yet words that were nervous and carefully handpicked for perfection. The time it took to write those poems, I wouldn't take back for the world. It's so amazing to have finally met someone that inspires. It's 11:11. And I could exclaim, I wish for you, but it's 11:12, and I simply say, thank you.
All right, so that is our first poet from Bellevue East, rounding out round one with their first individual poem. No group pieces in that round, so everybody still has their... Everyone still has their bonus group piece to be used in the next 3 rounds.
8.4, an 8.9, an 8.9, a 9, and a 9.1 for that poem. That's the end of the first round. How's that make you feel? I feel stuck. Yes, right. Keep clapping, keep clapping, keep clapping. And welcome back to the stage, DJ.
All right, so our leaders are Lincoln High with a 27.9, but Thomas Jefferson right behind them with 27.8.
Snodgrass. I'm a sophomore at Thomas Jefferson High School, and my poem is called You Will Never See Me Wait for a Man. I find it funny how everyone says how beautiful Mother Nature is, at least until Mother Nature acts upon a female. And I find it absurd how a man can have his pants hang down to his knees, but if a woman were to do it, she would be asking for it. Someone once told me that men are just inherently jerks, but they cannot simply inherit being a jerk as though it is a trait passed down to his son by his father like the color of his eyes. This is something that is learned, because it is a choice to fight for women or to fight against them. If superiority depends on the difference between a penis and a vagina, why does no one claim a superiority between a pen and its lid or a plug and its outlet? No, I do not hate men, but let's be real, ladies, we do just fine without them. I hate that women are oppressed and deemed inferior to a species who kick each other in the genitals and call it entertainment. I hate that women are seen for their sexual organs and physical attributes and not their brain or even their amazing sense of humor. Why exactly should I not feel safe walking down the street in the clothes I own? I hate that if a woman has a small ounce of fat lining her abdomen, she is unworthy of attention. And if her nose isn't a little button on the fabric of her skin, she is deemed ugly. And excuse me, but I feel that I should chime in and say that ugly is an opinion, not a fact. I hate that women are taught to watch their mouths and, God forbid, a burp escape from her apparently inadequate, too small or too fat, too red, too pink, too plump, too thin, too this, too that lips. And God forbid a fart escape, because then a woman is not ladylike, and what kind of man would find flatulence attractive? I hate that breasts are seen as objects of sex and not for what they truly are, and let me remind you that their purpose is to feed a hungry child, not to feed anyone's insatiable hunger for intimacy. Why do women have to be taught to wait for their Romeo, their shred of light in their dark damsel in distress lives, and not for their opportunity to become strong and independent? I will never wait for an undeserving king, nor will I bear his children, even if that is my womanly duty. This is a place where the woman's job is to have children and care for them while the man works and takes care of the child only when it is convenient to him. It's unfair that what's expected of me is purely the use of my uterus and of my loyalty to an undeserving husband. My entire life I will fight for the wages and the respect my two younger brothers will earn just for being male. And if I have to gather all my sisters and march down to City Hall and burn all the bras again so the powers that be will finally hear this, so be it. It's not that I wish that females were superior. It's that I know for a fact we are. But all that I want is for us to be equal. You will never see me wait for a man, because few men have ever been taught to wait for a woman.
Very strong piece, very strong audience reaction from Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson there. Currently in second place with a narrow margin. Really, really strong poem. So let's see how the judges react to it with their scores.
I need some more scores. Oh boy, so we have an 8.5. Sound uncomfortable. A 9.0. 9.0. 9.4. 9.6. Yeehaw! Up next is Marian High School.
It's a 27.4 for Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Another strong score for them this bout. And Marian is up now.
Hi. I'm Gwendolyn. I'm a freshman at Marian High School, and the poem I'll be performing today is The Fall of the Brightest Star. He sews my eyes shut, pulling me into a universe no better than our own, and taking the strength to wake up. Sleep has never been a want, only a need. Lucifer has claimed my soul since the day I turned 13, making me relive his story. The mutes wail at the sight of a falling angel. Down and down and down he goes, flying through this world. People haven't convinced me. It's just my imagination. I watch as his white wings fade to black, almost metallic, attached to his back for his disobedience. He refused orders. He broke the mold. Baptismal hymns turn to funeral dirges as his scale is tipped in the wrong direction. The metal bends and the hinges snap. Malice coating every broken bolt. Broken promises flooding the cracks. Letters to loved ones drown in spilled ink, goodbyes left unsaid, questions left unanswered, dears and sincerelys left to the imagination. God's right hand gone. The brightest star is falling right in front of my eyes, coming to claim a throne to which I am bound by unrealistic responsibilities. He grasps at tendrils of unraveling clouds, looking for the silver lining, only to find good intentions tainted by greed. My ears bleed from the sound of the damned. I just try to do the right thing. Results are the only thing that count. It was dark. Only evil hides in the dark. I was scared. You were weak. You're young. I'm still young. We're all still young. His kingdom is finished with me by his side, home to the ones who rebelled, the ones who were like him, like me. Damned from heaven, and that was punishment enough. Why am I being persecuted? My life isn't over. It's barely begun. Why am I being punished for things I haven't done? Do I have to become the one who rules over this frozen desert? Why am I no longer allowed upstairs? I never wanted to be queen. I didn't ask for this. I would never want to rule over the icy pit the devil calls his home. I learned not to run. I bow my head to accept my crown when suddenly the sun melts the threads. The door to my mental prison opens. Satan lets me leave because he knows I have to come back. But only when I need sleep again.
All right, that is Marian High School with a follow-up to their round one piece. And we'll see how the scores come back on that one. Very metaphorical approach to the poem. Really strong metaphors in there, so let's see how the judges react.
An 8.3, an 8.6, an 8.7, an 8.9, and a 9.0. But we applaud the poet here. Woo! Keep that woo going. We make lots of noise. And welcome back to the stage, Bellevue East.
All right, so that was a 25.2, if I'm doing the math right. Yep, 25.2 for Marian High. Here's Bellevue East.
Hi guys, I'm Liz Butts and I'm from Bellevue East. And my poem is called The Beautiful Kelsey Golding. A girl who was bullied for so long felt the need to give up, not only on life, but the possibility of it ever getting better. A girl who took one last look into the room around her and decided that she was not good enough to be in it. She decided to take one last breath in this world. A girl who never got to walk down the aisle or even graduate high school. Thank you so much, bullies, for hurting a girl so much that she had to do this to all of us. And now that lover that awaited all of his life to meet her never gets to kiss the permanently embedded scars into her skin. And tonight, I'll avenge the death of this innocent girl as my pencil touches the paper of these words that I hope you'll understand that the suicide rates, they are because of you. And tonight, if you are in this room and you're feeling that deep, dark storm inside yourself and you're thinking about ending the only beautiful, pulsating beat inside of yourself, don't. If you think that you're not good enough, you're not perfect, you are never going to be good enough for the rest of us, I can tell you and I promise that you're good enough to me and I love you. And I know that you know pain. I know that you know what it's like to be hurt because you are a perfect human being. Trust me, I know. My arms and legs are filled with the scars of other people's words. My eyes and ears filled with the echoes of their words. Not being able to erase anything like I can erase the words from the pages and tear them apart. I've wanted to erase my story, but I can't. You only get one chance at life, and you have to make it right. Live life to the fullest. And even though it sounds completely cliche, it's okay. You deserve to be happy. You deserve to love and be loved by many. So please, take my advice. Smile. Because you'll never know who will fall in love with it. And if you feel like there's no one there for you, I'm here, waiting, right next to you, with my hand out.
All right, that is a poet from Bellevue East, the third poem of round 2.
Very good with your emotions. Thank you, Dennis. Yes.
Lots of feelings. Lots of
From low to high, we have an 8.2, 8.8, 8.8, 8.9, and a 9.1. And now we have Lincoln High School.
All right. So that's a 26.5. 26.5 for Bellevue East, and here's Lincoln High School to close round 2.
My name is Lillian Bornstein. I am representing Lincoln High School. And this is titled 6 Months Later. Last night, a noise woke me up. I rolled over to ask if you needed anything. My empty bed gave no response. This house is not the same without you. I watch our daughter walk down a long hallway, illuminated by yellow light, clutching her hands. Loneliness is a fear that comes early with faceless cotton dolls and red wooden building blocks. She looks like you. I remember holding you. At first we kept saying, we're going to beat it. We're going to beat it. Toward the end, I began to realize that we might not beat it. My hope became as fragile as you were and fell out like your hair, strand by strand. You told me that you wanted me to move on, to find happiness with someone else, for her, for our faceless cotton doll, because if I look at her, I'll think of you. I let her tuck herself into bed. I wonder if an empty crib will heal her better than I could, because I failed to heal you. I can't look into her eyes anymore. She is not the same without you. Our daughter walks down a long hallway, clutching her own hands. Yours are not there to hold. I wonder if she feels alone. I don't want her to feel alone, but even the kitchen is not the same without you. The other night, I made her pasta, and she told me that it wasn't how you used to make it. When I was washing dishes, translucent soap suds crawled over my hands. I realized it had been a month since I had worn my wedding band. I felt like I was cheating, like these soap suds were accusing me of infidelity. I clutched the glass in my hand so hard that it shattered. Our daughter walks down a long hallway with outstretched hands, but I can't remember the last time I held something that didn't break. I keep saying I'm going to beat it. I'm going to forget it. You, for her. You wanted me to find happiness with someone else, and I've tried. The other night, I had a woman over. I didn't know what to do with the pictures of you. I couldn't bring myself to take them down. You were still a part of this house. You were still twisting in my veins. I still love you. I can't imagine not loving you. When this woman stayed over, I had her sleep on my side of the bed because I couldn't bear to wake up with someone else on yours. Last night, a noise woke me up. I rolled over to ask if you needed anything.
All right, that is Lincoln High with their follow-up piece to their first round opener, finishing out round 2. Personal and strong-willed piece from them.
Three, two, one, hold them up. From low to high, I have an 8.7, a 9.0, a 9.1, a 9.2, and a 9.8 for Lincoln High. Excellent.
All right, so that's a
That's the end of
27-3
our
for Lincoln
second
High,
round. So make a
giving
lot
them
of
a
noise and
55.
welcome back to the beginning of our third round.
Oh, sorry.
Make a lot of noise and welcome back to the beginning of our third round,
Yeah, Lincoln High is tied with Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson at 55.2 for both teams. So nice close bout. Then we have Bellevue East with 53.3 and Marian 51.7.
This is called Are You Okay, Miss Francine? It could be purgatory, this dull little slice of heaven, the fourth floor, where there's nothing to do and nowhere to go. Such undying boredom, you think, maybe I did something right. Maybe I cut deep enough. Maybe I took enough pills. Maybe I climbed high enough and I fell far enough. But none of us are lucky like that here. This is real, and so is the pain, the scars, the damage. The first time I found myself up there, I hated it, but I didn't want to leave. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't find my voice. So I found something sharp, and I'm sure you know where this is going, but I carved obscenities into my arm. Just my way of silently screaming to save my trembling voice the trouble. Jumping into the nasty habits I never kicked. And we would spend all day talking about how and why we would get better in various mind-numbing types of therapy, and I would wear long sleeves because I still thought that someone cared. And my second time, I was numb. I didn't want any of the help they had to offer, no matter how much I needed it. And time is dangerous up there is what it seemed like, because every 15 minutes, I would have someone in my room asking me, "Are you okay, Miss Francine? Are you joining us for lunch, Miss Francine?" And I'd say, "Yes, I'm fine." Say, "Yes, I'm going to eat today." Hope on the fourth floor is a rarity, but I felt it on my third trip. I felt like maybe this might be the last time. Maybe I'll be okay. Maybe this year I will be okay. I couldn't imagine a fourth time feeling that way. I couldn't see red in the future, and I haven't seen it since, not literally. It's not like I haven't wanted to. It's not like I haven't thought about it. But it's starting to look like I'm done. And if I do happen to relapse, at least they already know my name up there on the fourth floor.
All right, that is Marian High School to open up round 3. Interesting piece, really. Seemed like a persona piece. Very nice to see some of that writing. So, let's see how the scores come back.
More scores. She's really good at being eyeballs. Can we just hear a thanks for being eyeballs? She's good eyeballs. We have an 8.2, 8.5, 8.8, 8.8, 8.9, and now Bellevue East.
All right, so that's a 26.1 for Marian in their round 3 opener. Bellevue East is up next to follow that up. Let's see how it goes.
I'm Elizabeth Thrall. I'm a freshman at Bellevue East. And my poem is called Monster. As a child, when I was scared, I would find protection under my blanket. My monsters weren't able to invade my fortress of solitude, so I could lie in peace for hours on end, never to be touched by those I feared. But over the years I have grown, and unfortunately so have my monsters. My blanket is no longer strong enough to hide behind. All of these monsters pounding and beating on the other side of my buttress has slowly worn it down to nothing but a sheet blowing in the wind. I have gone from blanket to blanket, and every one of them is the same now. a tattered curtain swaying in the wind like a 1950s suburban household, and as I run in and out of my sheets, hiding from my monsters, I look for my escape. A way to rid myself of monsters forever, in and out, day and night, a never-ending game of hide-and-seek throughout my wonderland of bad memories. I bob and weave through my apparent confine of terror. I get this idea, a brilliant idea. Instead of escaping my monsters, why don't I trap them like they have trapped me in these sheets I want so desperately to get out of? I just need to get to my first monster without it having to find me instead. Peering through this white misery, I see one, not just anyone, my first one. That shaggy, grayish-blue beast who has been chasing me for a lifetime, the one who has trapped me here. Following my oldest friend, I have found that he has a routine. He stops at every sheet to check it, fully immersing his body in the abandoned haven, inspecting every inch of it for a sign of me. I need to get close. I need to be right behind him, so I sneak up to a safe enough distance, ready to pounce. I wait for him to enter the next discarded sanctuary to creep up to the opening. Sheet in hand, I pull down and capture my monster. Only, he doesn't fight back. He doesn't move once. I managed to kill my strongest demon, and I now realize that I have been surrounded by my escape for my whole life. The sheets to lay all of my fears on, and all of my sheets bleed with the ink of my monsters.
All right, that is Bellevue East with their round 3 poem. Strong metaphor at work there. Very interesting writing to see. Let's see how the scores come back.
How are you guys feeling? I feel a little bit like you're getting kind of sleepy, like nap time, like maybe you had a big dinner and now you're like, wow, that's right, not you. Woo, super excited. Okay. I had a really good time with that. Thanks, guys. I'm glad. We're closer now. All right, judges, on the count of 3, 3, 2, 1, hold them up. All right, load a high. I have an 8.3, an 8.4. An 8.6, an 8.7, and an 8.8, but we applaud the poet here. And keep applauding, and welcome back to the stage, Lincoln High!
All right, so that's a 25.7 for Bellevue East in their round 3 piece. Now we have another poet from Lincoln High School, trying to break this tie between them and Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Let's see how it goes.
Hi, I'm Anna Pape, a freshman at Lincoln High.
You know!
And this is In the Name of Love. Grandfather, don't be mad. I want to kiss the hand that feeds me happiness, my girl. She is so beautiful. The curves in her body define the clouds in my sky, and the arch in her foot that shows. When the slip of her shoe slides off is the cat's back, ready to dance. Her scalp must be Yellowstone because her hair bubbles out of her head like geysers in a bewitching storm of curls so viscous and dreamlike. At first glance, I doubt they exist. What I do for her to love me with her eyes that roll about the world around her, caressing the sharpest edges, making them smooth. Hold me. Moths dance in lanterns, and I think she'll hold me back. Moths play a dangerous game, and all they want is warmth. Grandmother, grandfather, old views aren't working in sight of my happiness. They're the rock I'm eternally damned to push uphill both ways. When I say I'm in love with a woman, ask yourselves why you worry so much about someone else's genitalia, what they do with it. Pay attention to the love and how you must have felt at one point in your life. Pay attention to the yellow balloons, to the raining of flowers, to the eternal playing of rock music that feels warm but pesters you at night. Our love is the sand that intrudes every crevice of our bodies, making us twist and twirl like the ballad of a bedsheet, but is the same sand that makes you forget and keeps you coming back to the beach. Why can't you remember the feeling of being held like a moment on the lips of destiny, holding the last breath you ever took because you draw your air from the kisses you receive, kissing regularly just to breathe? She reads my lips with hers like a work of literature, a god among books, spelling love to her on every page. She is a poet, With our dictionary we've made of ways to love one another, she writes the Odyssey. Grandmother, don't be mad. I'd wait till the end of the world just to watch as she writes the sunset onto pages of white.
All right, that is Lincoln High looking to break the tie between them and Council Bluffs. Thomas Jefferson. And a strong personal piece to add to their record of strong personal pieces. Really, all these pilots. Let's see how the scores come back.
Need some more scores. Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, from low to high, 8.5, 9.0, 9.1, 9.6, and a 9.8. Claude the Poet, yes, up next, Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson.
All right. It's a 27.7 for Lincoln High. A nice, strong score. Try and break this tie between them and TJ. See how TJ can follow it up.
Hi, my name is Cecilia Yale, and I'm a freshman at Thomas Jefferson High School. And my poem is called Never Regret. I question what I'm doing. Why I'm here in a place dominated by men where women don't belong. But I'm here to prove a point, to show them up, to show that society is wrong. The first day was the hardest. I had to tell myself countless times that it would be okay, that I wouldn't be judged or made fun of. But in the end, it was all in my head. I proved I wasn't just some sissy girl. I worked my way up to being a starter for A team. The ones who underestimated me were the ones who wish they hadn't. As the only girl on the team, I have every right to brag. I mean, come on. I even had a drill named after me. We were lined up face to face with each other across the 5-yard line. Coach pointed his finger in my direction, signaling it was my turn. This was going to be my first tackle. I had to make it count. After sending players 67 3 yards back from a hit, there was no stopping the coaches from laughing. I never thought I'd still be hearing about that to this day. Yale was my name, yelled by the coaches from the sidelines. They were calling me by my last name. If that doesn't make it official, I don't know what does. With the 7 and a 9 printed on my back, there was no way I could slack. I wore those numbers with pride, symbolizing the respect I have for my brother. I remember when I was 8. I threw on his Cyclones football uniform, shoulder pads and all, telling my mom I would play when I grew up, not having a single doubt in my mind. I've always been that way, stubborn and hard-headed, which is why I wouldn't budge when my basketball coach didn't want me to play. He was worried I'd get hurt. But in my mind, I was invincible. No one could stop me, not even my mom. The only person who could stop me was myself. I sprinted onto the field, digging my cleats into the ground, pulling up clumps of dirt. I glanced at the chain gang to the side, then to the vertical stripes lining the official's stained shirt. Then I took one last look at the white lace pigskin, then back to player 77 already in his stance opposite of me. I heard the cartilage in my knee crunch as I crouched into position, not knowing that this would be my last battle between the white lines. Since my injury, I have been asked many times, do I regret it? And my answer remains the same. I will never regret being the only girl on an all-guys football team.
Yes!
All right, that is a poem from Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Really strong personal story, really unique. One of my favorites from them this year. So let's see how the scores reflect it.
Show me your opinion in numerical form. 3, 2, 1. Hold them up. All right, from low to high, I have an 8.2.
Come on.
An 8.6.
Come on.
A 9.0. A 9.0 and a 9.1 to end that third round.
All right, so that's a 26.6.
Woo!
Woo!
Kicking off the beginning of our fourth round. Please welcome back to the
Over Thomas
stage,
Jefferson.
Bellevue East.
So 26.6 for TJ gives Lincoln a 1.1 point lead. Bellevue East is up to open our final individual poet round. Here they go.
Hi, I'm Megan Geis from Bellevue East, and I will be performing a piece called Constellations. When I first asked my mother how she and my dad first started talking, she said, "It all began with constellations." You see, my dad is a quiet person, but once you strike a chord with him, once you show him that you understand, he can talk for hours. She asked him about the constellations, asked him where the Big Dipper was, asked him to point out Orion's belt. And from that day on, they never looked back. They were bonded together by seemingly useless information, but it was the stars that brought them together, and if that doesn't sound like fate, I don't know what does. I once asked her, when was the first time she told him she loved him? She said she whispered it in French, "Je t'aime," because she was too afraid to say it out loud. I guess some things just happen. But sometimes it's more about the implications of love is a word we don't say in my house. Unless I'm talking to the assortment of house pets, I don't say I love you because it seems children learn by example. My parents don't say it because they are afraid I will use it against them. But every time my mother says, "Are you sure you don't need another jacket?" When my father pretends to listen when I'm talking to him, the "I love you" is implied. The first and only time I ever told my mother I hated her, she immediately responded with, "Yeah, I'm sure you do." But I'm not going to pretend I didn't hear her crying later. I'm not going to pretend I didn't cry too. And it frustrates me that I can tell my mother I hate her, but I'm not brave enough to say I love you, and the honest truth is I wish I was. The honest truth is I cannot stop thinking about constellations, about the implications of love, about the way we mean what we say, but we never say what we mean. But I like to think, on that night, under that map of stars, they said everything they ever wanted to say to each other. I hope he told her, none of the other girls understood, that he'd been looking for someone whose broken parts squeak at the same frequency. I hope she told him how much she'd hoped for him, how long she'd been loving him from afar. I hope they were scared. I hope they were nervous. I hope they said it anyway, forever stitching the stars together. And the honest truth is, ever since my mother told me that story, I have been fascinated by constellations, by the implication that I am a collaboration of constellations, by the notion that from Earth, stars look like tiny dots of light, but you still get the implication that somewhere a fire is burning.
And there's another poet from Bellevue East with another strong piece. Nice positivity in it, along with some struggles, obviously.
Need some more scores. Are you still with me, audience? All right, we're all just noodles in existence. From low to high, we have an 8.4, a 9.0, 9.1, 9.3, and a 9.5. Applaud the poets! And keep applauding for Lincoln High School.
All right, so that's a 27.4 to open Bellevue East, or to open the fourth round from Bellevue East. Nice strong score for a really strong poem. Really like that writing. So let's see how Lincoln High follows it up.
Your hair. Yeah. I'm Grace Green. I'm a senior at Lincoln High. And this is for Uncle Chris. She gives him no warning. Tells him to take his shoes and leave. He will wander the streets of their suburban neighborhood. My uncle is 45 and has never lived alone. Never thought the quiet hum of his parents in the other room. Growing up, I knew Chris was different. As I got older, I realized when I talked to him, I was talking to someone younger. His body grew faster than his mind. I want to tell my grandmother stop. That being exhausted of seeing the same face every day doesn't translate into forcing Chris to leave. Without his toothbrush, a change of clothes, his medication, or a mother's love. He wanders down stained glass sidewalks to his older brother's apartment, already swollen with the life of one, but tears at the seams with 3 on the weekend. His kindness cannot take your beatings. Nicotine-stained fingers chipping away at the dollar-store glue of medications and group therapy holding him together. Schizophrenic, legally blind, alcoholic, and gay means he calls my dad at least 10 times a day. That he had to carry a cane to school and be put in regular classes because when he was my age, there wasn't a school that had what he needed. His mother gave him her disease like kisses. With every paper towel I saw stuffed in her door to try to stop the smell of imaginary meth-cooking neighbors, I gave thanks. To whatever cosmic power is up there that they didn't make Chris as crazy as her. But then I cursed them for creating people that see my uncle and see disability. He is crazy. Insane enough to love the complexity of this world and not hate the people in it. Crazy to dance drunk at a 4th of July barbecue like any good uncle. My grandmother doesn't understand this. She married into this family not fully understanding our brand of bananas and pajamas crazy. When I was barely tall enough to ride any roller coaster, Chris would take my hand in his every Sunday as we walked to the corner. Neighbors would step out of the shelter of their homes or the bar to say hello and to talk to my uncle. I want to tell my grandmother all of this, about the people who love him and even those who don't. Describe to her what it is like when she forces him to leave and what it means that he always comes back.
All right, powerful piece of writing from another poet from Lincoln High. To my mind, I think making her louder than a bomb debut as a senior. I don't think I've seen her on their team before, so really strong work.
Oh man, I want my whole life to have like this soundtrack. Please, it's so much cooler. All right, judges, 3, 2, 1, hold up your scores. I have from low to high an 8.5. And an audience with an opinion. An 8.9. An 8.9. A 9.2. And a 9.5. We applaud the poet here. And keep applauding. And welcome back to the stage, TJ.
All right, so that's Lincoln High with a 27.0 in that round. And Thomas Jefferson is up to try and close the gap again. We'll see how it goes.
Hi, my name is Dana K.O., and I'm a sophomore at Thomas Jefferson High School, and my poem is called Child's Play. My imagination runs true and free, wilder than I may think. A meter stakes a sword fit for a king, and a rolling chair, her noble steed. Don't step on the floor, it's lava! I scream as I hop from the chair to the couch. Down the street at the plastic park are little screams of laughter. The man sleeping on the park bench is a troll, and the man yelling at me for acting like a child is a large, fearsome dragon. I am the king! I scream from the tallest tower in the land. Laughter turns into weird looks from my friends as I slide down from my tower. The man sleeping on the park bench is homeless and smells, and the man that yelled at me for acting like a child is a drunk. I'm still the king, I tell my friends, hoping they don't leave me behind. Imagination has no age limit and no restrictions. I think. Yet I watch my friends' imagination shrink. Our sword fights are turned into measurements, and our steeds are just chairs. They walk across the floor with no harm, watching me skip across the couch, making me believe the words of a drunk. Let's build a fort, I scream from atop the couch. A fort so high I can touch the sky, with pillows and blankets as strong stone walls to protect us from the foul beast with his 4 hairy legs and hunched over back. What would we do that for? I laugh and I tell them it's a joke, but in all reality, they hurt my feelings. Then I realize imagination's only weakness is age. I watched my friends grow up. Our once strong swords are just tools. Our steeds are plastic, uncomfortable chairs, and they sit on the floor not remembering. That tagged plastic parked in the street is no longer a clean piece of paper waiting for us to make our mark, yet a jumbled mess of forgotten memories. Our blankets can no longer protect us from the childish fears that hide in the dark, and the monsters we face turn into people that have problems of their own. Imagination is child's play.
That is Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Another strong showing from them. And a little bit more lighthearted. Teams are skewing a little bit more lighthearted. Bellevue East got a 27.4 from their lighthearted piece at the start of this. Let's see how TJ comes back.
Yeah. Oh, from low to high, an 8.5. Feelings, an 8.8. 8.9. 8.9. And a 9.0. Hooray, poetry!
All right, so that's a 26.4 for TJ to close out their individual poets. And here comes Marian with their last poet and their last individual poet for round 4. Here we go.
Oh God. Okay. Hi, my name is Charlotte, and I go to Marian, and I can't decide what to title this poem, so it doesn't have one. And now I'm gonna present it. When you say Charlotte, I think I'm in love. I'll say with what? And then you'll say you, and I'll say good, me too, even though I know it's not true. You are in love with the leaves that are floating down too fast for you to catch, and the river that's flowing by too quickly for you to jump in, but somehow you're drowning. And maybe that's why you laugh at all my jokes, and maybe that's why you like my dark side, and maybe that's why you think you love me at all. And I can smell that whiskey breath through the phone, and I know you're trying, but I'm indifferent, because you only ever say nice things to me when Jack Daniels is speaking for you. And his hand is shoved in your back, pushing and pulling all the right levers. You are a puppet. And my addictions look like hobbies next to yours. My blades and broken skin are literal, but you have been figuratively shred apart since that first drink. And your mother is crying, and your little brother is trying to be just like you, and I'm waiting for a bit of language to describe how I feel, because I think I love you, but I know that I hate this. Why do I so love the broken things? The answer is because the broken things never loved me. So now every mirrored image of my maker gets every bit of me, and by every bit I mean I will worry, and I will worry, and I will worry, and I will worry, and I will worry about you until long after this high school sweetheart has turned bitter. And you have an open door to my household, to my mom that screams too much, my dad that cries a lot, and I'm letting myself believe that you are a shelf I can place my thoughts on. A crooked shelf, perhaps a splintered shelf. You get stuck in my skin every time I touch you, but I love how it stings. Like your throat when it hits the bottle, and then it spreads this warmth throughout my body, and I feel like I found home. And you can be the house and I'll be the utilities. I'll keep you running from what hurts us. Please become addicted to me and you'll never go through withdrawals. Just don't become dependent because I need my space like you need a place to fall and there's no 12-step for love. No right or wrong way to do it, yet no room for error. I know. I think too much. I know it's all so much more simple for you. But I just get so sad so much. And I know you think you love me, but I just think that you need to love you first. And know that it's okay to hate him, and it's okay to hate her, and it's okay to hate me. And it's okay to hate this too.
All right. That was Marian High School with their final piece, final individual piece, I should say. Really strong writing there. Really, the audience was really connecting with that. Poets from all schools, from impartial sources, just strong stuff. Here come the scores.
All right, low to high, I've got an 8.6.
Come on.
A 9.1.
There we go.
A 9.2. A 9.4. And a 9.8 for that poem. And we applaud the poet here. All right, okay.
So that's a 27.7 to close things off for round 4 for Marian.
At the end of our fourth round, between our fourth and fifth rounds, we figure out the order of our fifth round. And so we're going to do a couple things in an order. First of all, coaches, if you would head on over there to meet with Mr. Matt Mason and get information about the order of this fifth round. Okay, everyone else, if you need to pee, now's the time to pee. Or make a phone call or take care of things. I have a list of announcements. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, right? Like everyone's like, I'm going to be polite about it, but I know what you're thinking. All right, so, first of all, Louder Than a Bomb is sponsored by, okay, you can go pee, but you can't just talk while I'm talking. I have information here. All right, so Louder Than a Bomb is sponsored by the Nebraska Writers Collective. The Nebraska Writers Collective does a lot of amazing things, and we are also a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which means that any donations you make are tax deductible. Woo! And it's totally worth it. So if you think this was more fun than hanging out in front of the television or the internet on a Saturday, maybe a little bit valuable for the young people and, I don't know, the grown people that you see here, give us money, donate to us. You could do that on the internet. You could come talk to us over there. I mean, whatever, throw cash at us, make it rain. All right, so another way that you can, put money into the Nebraska Writers Collective is our T-shirts. We have incredible T-shirts. T-shirts, those T-shirts, if you are a student, are $10. And if you are a grown human, they are $15. Only $15? And I think we may have leftovers from last year still. A large and an extra large from last year that are only $5. Only $5. I did the cheer with you. All right, so, okay, shifting gears. That's a clever pun that you'll figure out later because we're about to talk about parking. Shifting. I'm awesome. Awesome. All right. So, woo. So, today, because it's Saturday and because it's UNO's spring break, park anywhere on campus. Woo! Right? We will also be having bouts here in this room on Monday and on Tuesday. It's free to park on UNO's campus Monday and Tuesday on the lower level of the East parking garage. All right, this is the rule. The lower level of East parking garage. This is also on the internet if you're not like memorizing everything that's coming out of my mouth, and I can't imagine that is the case. But if you get a ticket, bring that ticket to Matt. We may have an arrangement going on. Waggle, waggle, waggle of my eyebrows. All right. So, shifting gears again, I've got a list of donors to thank. We've had some incredible people supporting us as we go. So I'd like to thank the Sherwood Foundation, the Nebraska Arts Council, Humanities Nebraska. I've got a lot of these. You can woo the whole time. Okay. The White's Family Foundation and Katie White,
Helena and Bob Schlotz, maybe, I'm not really sure. Schlotz, thank you. Paul and Annette Smith, the Jetton Fund, and all our donors, even those who didn't give $5,000 or more, like Angie Shent, Melanie Smith, Todd Robinson. What? Yeah, she totally is. All right, so we have, I don't know, let's take like a 3-minute break, like dance break, to set up the stage and get some sound going. But coaches know that we'll get this 5th round started presently. Hua, hua, hua. Thank you. All right, I'm ready to get
All right, folks, I'm back. We have some score adjustments. So first you'll be hearing in round 5, you'll be hearing from Marian sitting at 102. Then you'll hear from Bellevue East sitting at 106.4. Thomas Jefferson sitting at 107.9, and Lincoln High sitting at 109.9. So really good bout, just really, really great poetry coming out today. As Katie said, if you want to support this work, you can donate at ltabomaha.org or ltabgreatplains.org, LTABGREATT. Wow, you know how to spell plains. Oh, wait, it's a homonym. You might not. Plains, Plains, not like airplanes. Oh, boy. Long day. So it's a really great bout. If you're in the chat room, go ahead and just let us know in the comments what your favorite poem of the day was. You're going to be hearing 4-person group pieces, so each school will be fielding 4 people up to the stage, and we'll be back with that in like a minute or two. So sit tight. We'll see you in a little bit.
I've got 2. I've got 3 who's not paying attention
Thanks
to
for your
me.
patience. Katie's just doing a mic check before the group piece round. Coming right up.
Judge who are also not paying attention to me. Thank you. Thank you. You're doing a really good job of paying attention to me. All right. So, excellent. Do you want to introduce like the next, like, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the 5th round? Woo! We have Marian. Wait. Who's the order? Like, we're the only ones who know the order.
We only know the order. Hi. You're not in my brain today. First is Marian, followed by Bellevue East, then CB Thomas Jefferson, and Lincoln High.
Now, is everybody ready for it? Everybody ready for it? Woo! Wow, you really need a lot of encouragement, audience. Start clapping. And welcome back to the stage, Marian!
All right. Marian is up first in our group piece round. See how they do.
Dedicated to the world.
Hello. Yeah, I hope these are in order. Okay. My name is Charlotte.
I'm Francine.
I'm Gwendolyn. I'm Sam.
And this poem is called Last Supper. In memento while I get myself together. I'm so sorry. Wait. What? Oh, wait, I think this is terrible. We're probably good. Okay. Last Supper.
Okay. At my house, our dinner table is cluttered but still empty. Empty as in no one's there, no one cares. We're the kind of family where we all take turns going into the kitchen so we can get our own food. And then we go back to where we were.
Constant chatterbacks chit-chattering with tabletop delights set in front of us. Stories of work and wonder, project and play constantly teetering on open lips. When
food was set in front of us, and there were still stories to tell. My father sits at the head of the table. Glasses on the end of his nose, grayish-red hair, buttons and slacks, slippers on his feet. Mother is on his right, tired from sewing costumes for a Broadway that she used to star in. She is the kind of beautiful that age can't touch, and she holds my father's hand better than she holds a needle.
On Christmas, when one family was getting high, the other was trapping in secrets, conspiring against each other. I watch, observe, isolated on a stiff wooden chair between the men
getting drunk and the women arguing.
Separate but equally alone. It wasn't always like this because when that witch was there trying to make us connect, trying to make us feel like a family. Sometimes taking pictures of us pretending to be happy, pretending to feel like a family.
It was good. This was good. Memories I love. Memories locked in place, never forgotten as if photographs taken and
Framed in my mind. There's Aunt Sally, my mother's younger, dumber sister, who drinks too much and laughs too loud, but in a cute way. And Grandma and Grandpa, content to watch what they created grow up.
The air smells like steel, stinging the tunnels to my lungs. Cyanide, chloroform, clean, too clean. Welcome to Christmas. No matter what season it is, it's always cold. Cold. Like the casserole my grandma loves. Cold. Like the air between the chairs at the table. Cold.
The truth is, I've never felt like I had a family, except for eating that French toast without cinnamon on it, because we put tangy instant tea on it instead. And so when I sit in his car and we talk about how alone we are together, it's when I ask him if this is what love feels like, and he says, no, this hurts.
If only life stayed this way, stock still trapped in hallmark moments, technology refuses this request.
And the television found its way into the dining room. A wash of freckles is spread throughout the room. Red and blonde hair, everyone in glasses because everyone reads too much. That communal laugh that everyone shares forms a church choir when used in unison.
My sister quietly runs from my step-grandpa, crying in the corner of my old closet.
I'd go to her,
but I'm claustrophobic.
After that, no one spoke, just the constant droning of the news, stupid dramas, and unfunny sitcoms. As someone shouts, I can't hear my show!
Mother never would have been a star, even if she was sober. My father's hair is long, strangly, and all gray, and my mother's hand was never his to hold. These people, my people, I don't know any of them.
They make me lead prayer because I attend Catholic school. Sometimes I wish they'd know I never believe in their God. Controlling, conceited, cold, like them.
I never liked what they watched because it killed my appetite, just like the people on screen killed others. I leave the kitchen and eat in my room with my own television on.
Memories fade into gray static.
All right, so those are the poets from Marian High School for their final poet of the bout and the competition. Strong new piece of group writing. I don't think that was the same group piece that they had in their first bout. So
3, 2, 1, hold them up.
Let's see how scores come back.
All right, from low to high, I have an 8.4, an 8.8, an 8.9, an 8.9, and a 9.04, Marian! Good applauding, keep applauding, and welcome back to this.
So that's a 26.4 for Marian, adding to their score. So we'll see how that adds up. And Bellevue East is up next to continue round 5. Here we go.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth. I'm from Bellevue East.
Hi, I'm Luke Bandagosa from Bellevue East.
I'm Elizabeth Pearl from Bellevue East. I'm Megan Geis from Bellevue East. Yay. If I'm being honest, I can't remember the first time it happened. Sometimes I wonder if there was the first time. If I always existed in a state of violation, this disaster zone of a broken home, a circus of estranged brothers, of weeping mothers trying to find a way to look her first child in the eye and tell him, I still love you. I still love you even after you stole my daughter's innocence, saw our last chance at a normal life and crushed it, pulled it apart until it was lying cold, afraid, exposed.
It's not my fault. If it was my choice, it wouldn't have happened. But it wasn't my decision. He took it from me like it was his to take from the start. I can never forget it. The piercing stabs that I tried to ignore, I tried to make him stop. But the stabs continued, almost rhythmic, over and over, like they were never ending. But when they did, that's when it hurt the most.
There are some days I live in my room, day and night. There's also times that I'm never home, doing my best to stay away from my father. And I swear that day will come again when he will hurt me, when he will lock himself in my room and pound away at my body, leaving bruises and dark red marks. I hate him. Every fiber of my being wants to tell him to go die. He has ruined my life, hurt me like no other, my deadbeat father. He's a drunk and a junkie too. And those shots of poison can't kill him fast enough, and that needle, when it punctures his skin in his vein, can't shut his heart down quick enough.
We didn't have to end on bad terms for you to slam the door closed on me. For you to slam the door in my face, planks of thick oak shutting me out of what I strive to continue. I still hold tight to your door's handle, and though it may feel like thorns digging into my palms, I can't let loose the thought of busting that dead-belted door back open. The only artifact left from your room is the emotional residue. It's why I still feel connected with the thinnest wire. Time will pass, and the struggle to keep my grip to your door will intensify. I clench tighter and tighter, but the thoughts of you still manage to pull free.
I no longer have a father and Dad. He's merely your phone learner, but that's okay. Because I feel like him getting locked up was a random act of justice done by the universe, giving me the strength to be strong. And the words I write acting as my muscles, keeping my bones together, standing up tall, being able to use the ligaments of my hand, wrapping my fingers around the doorknob, opening the door, and sliding into the new mindset I've always been.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. For me, this happened in reverse. He may have taken the one thing that I can never give back, but I have gained the most beautiful thing in my life. Words. Words have opened the door to a world that I have never seen, a place that I can be.
When my mother first found out, she repeated over and over, they don't write books on how to deal with this. What she meant was, there's no guide on how to disown your own son, how to forget the memories, but we survived, and now we have to live. So I write it down on clean white paper, write down what hurts, what burns, what tears me apart, and I stitch myself back together, pull pieces of him out of me. I live.
And once it's free, it's no longer your hand in mine. What remains in my palm is a key to the door in front of me, but the door feels different. The door is no longer thick and empty. I open the door. It's poetry.
All right, that is Council Bluffs. No, I'm sorry. That is Bellevue East with their final poem of the bout. Strong group writing. I think that's another debut group piece, so it's cool to see.
Favorite time of the day, judges? Yes. Oh, thank you. You're so beautiful. Thank you. It's the truth. From low to high, 8.3.
Come on.
8.8. 8.9, 8.9, and an 8.9. Applaud poetry, and applaud also for C.B. Thomas
Jefferson.
All right, so that's a 26.6 as well for Bellevue East, matching the 26.6 just given to Marian High School. And Thomas Jefferson is up now.
Hi, I'm Danica Yale, and I'm a sophomore.
Claire Yale, junior.
Kaylin Snodgrass, sophomore.
Cecilia Yale, freshman, and we are from Thomas Jefferson High School.
Shirts scattered on the floor.
Some clean,
some dirty,
some still folded,
while some really stink. My jeans are starting to pile inside out. What am I gonna do?
I don't like getting dressed. I like my
pajamas
and sweatpants
more than anything in the world. But I have to go out into the world, and I don't want to look gross, so I always wear my skinny jeans. They're the only jeans I feel comfortable in.
Which is ironic, because a lot of people would think otherwise.
I wear a lot of flannels, band shirts, and sweaters, and I always rock my torn-up black Converse knockoffs. Or perhaps those designer boots I got on sale last weekend? But first, I have to do my makeup. I don't know why.
And I still think back to my comfortable sweats.
Sweats.
Oh, glorious sweats.
I wish for infinite sweats. They're baggy and saggy and covered in doggy hair from the puppy that lives in my home. They're comfy.
And fluffy.
And soft inside.
With room to move.
And twist.
And slide.
Jeans aren't as nice. They're stiff and scratchy. Now that I think about it,
they're kind of nasty.
I never dress up. I'm going to have to for my brother's wedding, and I don't know how comfortable I'll be, because I usually just wear a hoodie and jeans. My friend dressed up on Valentine's Day to make the guy who ditched her jealous. To get back at him, she sported a black dress.
With diamond-shaped slits on the sides.
She traded in the yoga pants for fishnet tights.
That showed just enough skin.
Ooh.
She laced up her 4-inch heels.
Like combat boots.
She
looked
good.
But I was comfortable.
Should I wear the tight orange Nike shirt?
Or the loose hanging jacket?
But I want something bright. Something
noticeable.
I want to stand out.
But I want to look stylish.
Is this too athletic?
Well, you should wear sweats.
I wear sweats every day.
But what about jeans?
Or leggings.
Or shorts.
Or sweats. Nah, I'm just lazy.
All right, that is Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. Another, again, they're a first-year team this year, and a really strong showing for them today to go toe-to-toe with Lincoln East, or Lincoln High, sorry, for 2 rounds. Really strong. Let's see what their final scores come back as.
Low to high, I've got an 8.6, an 8.9, a 9, a 9.1, and a 9.3 for that group piece. We have one
That's a
last
27
for
even.
you tonight, so make all the noise and welcome back.
That's a 27 even for Council Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. And Lincoln High is up next to finish us off.
Hello, I'm Lillian.
I'm Camille.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Tiana. We're from Lincoln High. And this is the city of Lee. This city is built on the bones of women who die thinking, I'm not good enough.
It is glued together with the blood of women who are told,
I asked for it. Fires are kindled of magazine spreads dictating that we shouldn't love ourselves.
We should cultivate our bodies to gratify men and not to accomplish what we want to. For years you have heard the sounds of our city rising. We are built from the ground up.
We will build this city for the women like me, the girls who have been beaten
and have never felt comfortable in the body they were given because that's not very ladylike, and
boys will be boys
have become the norm in this society. The bodies lie, stacked up, rising high, every woman to ever achieve and get knocked down.
Our walls are built of broken limbs and bodies seem too fragile to wield hammers.
Our walls have been rising for years. Those who are broken are welcomed with open arms. We are building the city for a girl born in 1930 who hid her paintings in the attic next to ideas of a future worth waiting for. We're building this city for her daughter, my mother, who stayed in a marriage that left her too familiar with the sound of her own crying. She stayed for her children. She stayed for me.
We're building this city for my friend Sarah, who was told that because she had alcohol in her system, she was not raped.
We are building this city for Dylan Farrow, because society begins by assuming she is lying. We are building this city for my cousin Stephanie, who thinks there is a hierarchy in life that goes God, then man, then woman. It's her job to be submissive.
Her role is limited to love she craves from two distant men. We are building this city so they can have a destination.
So they can stop living for other people and just live. We are breaking like waves on these walls,
watching them rise like a fever, but for once we don't feel sick.
This is creation. This is a self-determined purpose.
We are prophets
who can finally stop using the name Anonymous.
We know who we are.
I think it's worth building for them. For Lillian and Camille and Bobby and Tiana and my grandmother.
And every other lady who's been beaten into the dust and denied opportunity she's told
she doesn't deserve. We are building this city for ourselves. Because when I walk alone at night, heavy footsteps behind me
compel me to cross to the other side of the street, men catcall when I am out with my friends.
We are building this city for ourselves.
Because I've never felt more trapped in the way that stereotypes engulf the culture.
We are looking for refuge in a place to call our own. I shouldn't have to feel scared.
We have been in the shadows for too long.
We are building the city for anyone who has been oppressed and anyone who has ever felt like they need to build a wall to feel safe, to feel respected.
This is for you.
Because you deserve a sidewalk you feel safe on. Because your home should not feel like a trap.
Because the faces around you should be able to love you as an equal.
This is for you.
This is for us.
All right, that is Lincoln High with another signature strength group piece. And should be enough to push them into the win, but we'll see how the scores come back. While we calculate scores, seems like a great time to remind you that you can donate to support this work at ltabomaha.org and ltabgreatplains.org. Please do so. Here come the scores.
Much stiffiness to be had.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
All right, simmer individuals. So, from low to high, we have a 9.2. 9.2. 9.2. 9.5 and a 9.6.
So, while the powers that be,
All right, so that's a 27.9 for Lincoln High to close their bout.
I'd like to invite the teams, the poets, and the coaches to join me up on the stage. Quietly, very, very quietly, because I have something important to say to everyone else while you're doing this, okay? So, the venue, by which I mean this building, is officially closed right now. Keep coming up. Keep coming up. Yeah, I'm just going to keep talking. When we are all done with all these announcements and celebrations, we will be ushering you out of here more quickly than we usually do, but it's not because we don't love you. We love you. We appreciate you. But also, oh man, thank you. But also there's work to be done by other people who are waiting on us. All right. Thanks. No, it's not. Wait, yes it is. All right, so, applause for our fourth placer, poet, Marian. Third place, Bellevue East. Second place, Bluffs Thomas Jefferson. And first place, June Lincoln. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening. Drive safely and make responsible decisions.
All right, folks. So Lincoln High takes the win for the day. That means we are going to be shutting down here. We will be back live streaming at 5:30 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night this week. So we've got 6 more preliminary bouts as teams go toe-to-toe to try and battle for final spots in the semifinals. Lincoln High and Lincoln North Star in their wins today will both be assured spots, but there's still a lot of spots remaining to be locked in, so those bouts are going to determine a lot of fates there. So be sure to check this out. We'll be streaming at 5:30 on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night. You can donate to support it at ltabomaha.org and ltabgreatplains.org to keep this work going, keep paying our artists, keep these students interacting with art and telling their stories. And that's it. So I've been Greg Harries, and I've been happy to be your live stream host this weekend. And we'll see you again on Monday at 5:30. So bye, everybody. Take care. And get outside and enjoy the weather now.